All right.
Do a drink first. Only half filled. What is
I
this
didn't want you to
nonsense?
spill it.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Joshua,
I'm Jeremy.
and this is the Brothers Judah. And today we have another riveting episode.
Oh yeah.
What should we talk about today?
We don't even know yet. Let's figure it out. I always say anything that's on your mind.
I mean,
I know you had wanted to touch back about what the comment you had made.
well, I did in the last video.
Oh, I thought you said you wanted to do one this video.
No, I
too.
did in the last video, but
All
I can't remember what the last video was about.
I don't even remember
So,
too. So why don't we just start fresh then?
I mean, I feel pretty good about the world right now, even though things seem to be in chaos.
Okay. Why are you feeling better now than in the past?
Well, I really acutely am aware of the fact that God's in charge and we're all, subject to his laws. And I don't know, like I'm not worried about the future.
That's good.
Yeah.
I don't want to play the devil's advocate and get you worried, but maybe for people that are thinking.
Well, that's the point of the show, to
So
discuss.
let's discuss it, but
Yeah.
at the end, don't feel discouraged, even though I might be.
I won't.
So, all right, so God's in charge, and I can think of many things to say that would agree with that, but now to play the devil's advocate. What about, even if God's in charge, there still has been a lot of pain that has been in the past. The Holocaust, I mean, there have been times,
Yes.
I mean, people do get struck by lightning and die. I mean, is it, so how do we have an answer for that?
Well, I think we got to talk about free will if we're going to talk about this. And
Definitely.
God gives us free will, obviously. And some people choose to use that free will for evil. Okay. And other people are affected by that. So
Yeah.
one person who's not choosing to use their free will for evil can be affected by someone else who is choosing to use their free will for evil. So I think the reason I feel optimistic now is because I think as the world gets more chaotic, I think people who are doing evil are going to find it harder and harder because
Yeah.
they're going to be basically they're going to get squeezed by the natural laws.
Well, it's also the longer you tell lies and the bigger they get.
Yeah.
You get tangled in a web of lies, and
Yeah.
it's hard to,
Yeah.
you basically get caught.
So that looks like mass chaos, but what it really is it's God separating the wheat from the chaff.
That's a good point. That's a good
Yeah.
point. So there's a few things I want to talk about. Okay, so one thing that I think about is, although it seems chaotic now, I always try to figure out where my judgment is, where my relativity is. So it's almost like right now it's end of November, so it's a cold day, right? So it's like, oh, it's so cold out, and right now, oh, I'm so cold, but yeah, relative to a nice, warmer, earlier fall day or late spring or summer day, yeah, I'm cold. But compared to what it could be, how bad it actually could get, how freezing cold I could actually be, and people have been in the past. Like there's horrifying stories of people freezing to death. I mean, then it makes me feel not that cold right now. So although things seem really bad now, are they really bad? Are they worse than we think? Are they not as bad as we think? And how bad do we think they are going to get in the future?
Probably not as bad as we think. If you think about like the Great Depression, people waiting in line for bread, different, periods in history around the world. I mean, there's a lot. I guess there's been a lot worse times, but I don't know. I guess part of why I'm optimistic about this time is because I don't know. It's like a different kind of war. Like before, the wars were just like physical wars, fought physically.
Yeah.
And now we have a degree of physical freedom, and the war is like an information war.
Yeah.
It's a what's truth war. And I know that the truth wins. Like the truth is the truth, and you can't break it. So I don't know. Like I don't know. I'm kind of optimistic. I'm scared for the evildoers because like my own personal reckoning was was pretty harsh. When I felt like I got squeezed to kind of have to face the consequences of my actions. And I've tried to be a good person most of my life. It was rough. So like people who are, not trying to do good, I'm like, God help them. I'm scared for them.
Yeah. Oof, that's interesting. What's see, let's say there's 100 people, right? Where do we fit in terms of 0 to 100? How good are we in terms of 100 is the best, 0 is the worst? I might be able to think of a number. Oh, I know I probably, I don't know, 80s for me. I'm a B. In terms of maybe how good I could be and so forth. But what if we still get? What if it's like a? What if it's almost like a not a winner take all? It sounds horrible, but you have to be really, really, really good, and we're not good enough. Like like in the Bible, aren't there stories? But aren't there stories in the Bible where, like?
Yeah, Moses. This one. He basically leads the people out of Israel for 40 years in the desert, following God's word, reprimanding the people, and he made a mistake, and then he got to see the promised land from the mountain, but he couldn't enter.
Yeah, like that. So, like compared to that, like, I haven't worked my whole life like he has.
We can't.
I've been selfish for most of my life. Thinking about what pleasures me.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point. We all fall short.
Yeah,
but I think it takes a level of like. I think it comes down to really pride and humility. Like either we think are our own God, or we don't. And if we think we're our own God, we have a reckoning coming.
Yeah.
And if we don't, and we humble ourselves and we're trying to follow or serve God's will, then I think things will ultimately work out. I don't know.
It is. Well, I completely agree. I mean, I've noticed in my life when there are periods of time where I'm really focused on doing good and not sinning and trying to be better and follow God's path. Say, I've noticed things are just getting better. I feel better. My life things just flow. There's less those incidences where it feels like it's just the chaos of the universe. Things just flow better. It's like people don't pull out in front of you. You don't hit the red light. And I know it sounds
for
silly.
You, the world can still be in chaos.
The world is still in chaos, but I feel like I'm just going through it easily.
Yeah.
And you'll still hit red lights. I'm not making it sound like that, but there's just a different feeling of just going through life. And then I notice, which I have to not do, but what happens is you start feeling good. You start, things are easy, and then you start relaxing, and then you kind of slip back and you start sinning again, and then what happens? Things start getting chaotic, and then it's also tough. The more chaotic it is, it's like at the end of a stressful day. What do you want to do? You want to lay down, eat, and watch TV. You don't want to do something productive or something healthy. So it becomes harder. Yeah. But then there's a point where I then realize that and switch back and try to behave again, and then life starts getting better again.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I've noticed it for a couple decades now. And
well, there's 2 points. First is when you're talking about basically you can feel like you're at peace or things are going smoothly even when the world around you is chaos.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Daniel in the furnace. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
Daniel's put inside the furnace.
Yep.
And there's fire all around him, and then he just like walks out without any burns on him. That's kind of what it's like when you have the peace of God, and like when you're trying to serve God's will, it's your own path. It's your path. It's not the world. Like it's not the world's path. I can't control the world, the path of the world, but I can, I can my own little path. I can try to align myself with God's laws.
Yeah.
So
I have noticed that feeling though. There are times when you're in a room and there's just like chaos going and people are emotional and this and stressed and I'm just sitting there like just peaceful, like watching it. Oh well, do this and like it's like a level of clarity and a level of just being able to just handle the situation and it feels really good, and that's kind of it's nice. There's like fire going all around you and you're just sitting there cool.
Yeah. So that's what I think it's going to be like. So if things do get more chaotic.
Isn't it? It's kind of like that now. Like I've been recently, a lot of people, I'm with someone and they're all worked up. They're on their phone. They're reading Facebook stuff. They're all this, and their mind's like going in this chaos.
Yeah.
And then I feel just kind of like still next to them, like watching it.
Yeah.
And it's not that bad yet, but I definitely see the trajectory.
Yeah.
It's like the kindling is burning and the bigger logs are starting to catch. And,
yeah. I mean, the Bible says if we follow God, we'll reap the fruits of that. Yeah. Like our lives will get better over time. So.
I think what I need to do is I need to be cautious on. So like I said, I go through kind of ups and downs where I'm focusing on not sinning. My life is getting better. Things are kind of falling into place, and then I start feeling good. And it's like somebody that exercises a lot, and they go, "Oh, I deserve this, whatever junk food they deserve me." So things start going well, and I go, "Oh, okay, I could do a little of this or a little of that." And it's like that one chip from that bag. You take the one chip, and then the next thing you know, you're taking 2 chips, and the next thing you know, you have the bag sitting here, and you're like eating out of the bag of chips. And so I have to be very cautious to not let myself slide back and start sinning again, because it feels like a roller coaster up and down. Yeah. And although I do generally feel that the roller coaster up and down is getting better over time, I still don't like those dips where I just realize it's like, oh, I'm doing this again.
Well, for me personally, like I try to be the best I can at every moment. It's not just a daily practice; it's a moment-to-moment practice, right? Yeah. And the longer you do that, you kind of stay in being your best in every moment. So, like I feel like I've been doing that for a few years now, and every moment of every day focusing on like, serving God's will, not my own will. Yeah. And I've noticed like sometimes there are moments where I'll just hit a wall, and it's like I have to just snack and watch a show tonight. Like I just can't push past it. Yeah. But to me, that's like, okay, that's my best. That's my best. Even though like I want to be better. Yeah. It's like,
but your better is getting better over time.
Yeah,
I think that's the key.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. It's
I'm doing that less and less. I'm being good more and more. Yeah. And not listening to God less and less.
Yeah. I think it's when you said moment to moment, that's really like even in the span of this conversation, there are periods of time where I start to get lost and feel in my thought, almost like a feeling of, I don't want to say arrogance, but a feeling of like when I started talking earlier about my ups and downs, when I'm talking, or when I rated myself a B and I started talking about being in the fire and around me there's chaos, yet I'm cool. I noticed my thoughts starting to go towards pride and everything's good, I'm good, I'm going to be safe, the world's going to be in chaos, but I'm okay. Right? And you have to catch yourself and go back down, and then and it's you have to constantly be aware, because if you get distracted, you start thinking about something else, and there's so many distractions. Like one thing that I've been trying to focus on is not having lustful thoughts. And so I'm thinking about, not paying attention to any sexual imagery. And, I'm working on my computer, and there's a work email, and I open up it doesn't even matter what it was, but there was a picture of a girl laying there with short, her legs exposed up, and like instantly my thought, it's like I don't want that in my mind. Like get away, and we're exposed to it constantly, everywhere.
Yeah, I would say, because I've read the Bible almost twice now. Well, probably over 1.5 times. I'm almost done with the Old Testament for the second time.
It's a long read.
It's a long read, but I think like one of the overwhelming messages of the whole book is not having idols, not serving false gods. Yeah. And anytime we're not focusing on God, we're, if we're focusing on money or other things, whatever, lust, whatever, like we're not making God our priority. And like, to me, a daily practice is the only way to do that. Like I have to read the Bible every day. I have to pray every day. if I have to do that to stay on the path. Otherwise, I'll just start. It's like if you're driving on the road and you let go of the wheel, and the car just starts drifting off the road.
Yeah, it's a good analogy. It's the constant corrections. Even if you're driving straight, it's not really perfectly straight, and the car does drift. You just kind of little adjustments constantly, and sometimes they're big adjustments because you really veered off.
And that's painful. So I want to do that less and less. It's like I don't want to be in pain.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. It's a good analogy.
So, yeah.
Interesting. I just saw the clock. We only have 3 minutes left. These go by so quick. I have so much more I want to talk about. But
we talked about a lot. I mean,
I guess we did. Yeah. The clock distracted me. I had some thoughts I was going to go, and now I feel derailed.
Well,
but, I think a key takeaway is to constantly just keep the mind right. Keep the constant adjustments.
So regardless of the state of the world, we can be in alignment.
Yeah.
With truth and, I mean, just to,
you know what else we have to do?
What?
The little nagging things, solve them. And it's like once I was cleaning out my garage and there was a box like in the pathway of where I was going from one spot to the next, and I was going back and forth between it, and I kept like stumbling over it. It kept getting in my way, and I just left it there. And after like 10 trips back and forth from the garage, it literally took me about 3 seconds. I bent down and went, doo, doo. I moved it. Yeah. And then the next time I walked by, it hit me. I was like, wow, it's not in my way. And it's like, one thing now, I'm cold again for the second time. Yeah. And it's only getting colder. Yeah. So you were smart.
Yeah, I got like 3 layers on.
I know, that was smart. I wasn't.
Well, Elon Musk says you got to do your chores.
That's true. Because I'm freezing.
I mean, it's not just kids. Like, he actually said going to college is just to prove that you can do your chores.
Well, yeah, without the parental supervision.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
All right. Any last words before we wrap it up? Because I need
a
blanket.
I don't know. I mean, we weren't going to dive too deep into like biblical stuff, I guess.
No, but today we brought it.
I mean, to me, God is what it's all about. Like the truth, the highest truth.
I thought of, I don't know if I have time. When you were saying keeping our mind, right?
Yeah.
I think of now, this is a stretch of analogy, but let's say you like, I don't know, created a robot or something to like those Roombas that are going to do a task, right?
Yeah.
And you set it on, and then you do something, you come back, and instead of it like vacuuming the floor, it's like off doing something else. It's like, what are you doing? Like, go back to your, and for us, like, we're not in this world to have all these, like, yes, pleasure is a part of the world, but that's not the goal of it. Like, we need to be living right lives. We're not here to just, eat, snack on foods and
I always say
I'm
on tour. I'm on tour. Like, I'm here to like a soldier. I'm here to serve. Yeah. Like, I'm on tour here.
Like, we're here. We're here. Now we got seconds left. Anyway.
All right. Well, let's just wrap it up, I guess.
It sounds good. So, thanks for joining us for another episode. Next time I won't be shivering. Hopefully I'll remember it, and you can call me out on it if I'm here in the same shirt.
All right.